One of the themes of our show is freedom of speech in general, but also this particular and pernicious war against free speech of certain people. I find these days, especially in Canada, that there's a particular war against free speech of Christians. We've seen it in the public square, literally in Yonge and Dundas Square in downtown Toronto, where a Christian preacher was banned and a Christian choir was banned. We've seen it with Trinity Western University, that is not allowed to have its Christian values. Only Christians. They don't pick on Jews or Muslims or other people in the same way. And I bring you the latest case, not Christianity per se, but a conservative religious view from the University of Toronto at Mississauga. And joining me now via Skype from that university to talk about it is the president of the University of Toronto Mississauga Students for Life. Her name is Diane Zettel. Diane, nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you, but the subject matter that brings us together is not pleasant. You wanted to start a campus club at UTM because you represent a political point of view. And I remember my campus days, there's lots of political activity, political parties, advocates on the left and the right, and the whole spectrum of opinion. But that's the thing here. Your particular opinion was blocked by the Students' Union. Am I right? Tell me the facts.
Yes, you're right. We were actually recognized as a club the year before. We're a pro-life club. And it wasn't until this year that we were actually denied club status.
Okay, so were you badly behaved in the last year? Did you commit any violence or break any laws? What caused you to lose your status that you had last year? You seem like a peaceful person to me. You seem quite polite, politer than me. Why did they take it away?
So in fact, there were no specific instances where we were acting out of hand or anything. The reason that our club status was taken away was mainly because of the political nature of our club and because of our stance on abortion.
Okay, well, as I mentioned a moment ago, universities are chock full of political clubs. When I was a student, I was part of something called the Reform Party Student Society. There were Christian clubs and Jewish clubs and Muslim clubs, and there were left-wing clubs and right-wing clubs. There was a gay club. There was a feminist club. I bet there's so many more today. Let me ask you the obvious question. I know the answer to it. I just want to hear you say it. There are other political clubs on your campus that are allowed to be political, right?
Yes, there are. There are all different kinds of religious clubs and clubs affiliated with political organizations. Like you said, there's lots of different clubs of different natures. So
how did they communicate to you? I mean, like, here's the student union's official mission statement: to safeguard the individual rights of the student regardless of race, creed, or sex, or political beliefs. So your political beliefs, your personal beliefs, you could even say it's your creed, is to protect pro-life. So how can the University of Toronto Mississauga say that it protects diversity of opinion and your rights, but then specifically say, no, you're pro-life? How did they communicate that to you? I mean, did they not realize that they were breaking not only their own rules, but I would say the Canadian Charter of Rights and our constitutional freedoms? How did they communicate this to you?
I guess they wouldn't have really realized that. Their first communication with us was in August when they told us that our club status was denied. But it wasn't, and they didn't really provide us with a sound reason as to why our club status was denied. Shortly after that, they replied saying that it was because that we were telling women what to do with their bodies. But they didn't really provide us with a very good reason as to why.
Yeah, now obviously you don't go around and say to women, do this with your body, do that with your body. That's their metaphorical summary of your pro-life position. That's what a pro-choice activist would say to a pro-lifer, which is a fair debate. But this wasn't two different points of view debating. This was the referee. This was the student government saying, we do not allow your point of view. So at first they didn't give you any reasons. Then they said it was because you were pro-life. Now, when you pushed back, they changed their reason for shutting your club down, didn't they?
Yes, they did. When we continually asked for a chance to appeal the decision, when we went to go appeal the decision, they kind of changed their idea and said that it was because of some minor discrepancies in our constitution with relation to the UTMSU club's handbook.
All right. I think I've got a good picture of what's going on. Here's the good news. You've teamed up with my old friend, John Carpay from the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. He's a lawyer for free speech, especially for Christians driven onto the public square. What are you guys doing? Are you suing?
Yes, we're taking court action against the student union. And so we're asking to be recognized just as any other club.
And have you filed that lawsuit yet?
Yes, we have. It was filed on Friday, and I just got notice that it was served on this Wednesday, so a couple days ago.
Excellent. Well, I'll have to get a copy of the lawsuit from you or from John and put it up on our website. Now, I spoke to John earlier today, and I asked him, can we help fundraise for this? Because obviously, he's not charging you for his legal fees. You're just a student, and he's a public interest lawyer. He accepted our offer to raise some funds for this case. And so I'd like to call on all our viewers who are concerned about this kind of censorship, not just of free speech, but when you think about it, freedom of religion and freedom of association. The kind of bullying that you went through there, Diane, is something I think we've got to stop. We should stop it against anyone, but it just so happens it's always the same people being picked on every time. Diane, I'm going to ask our viewers to go to therealbigots.com, because that's what I call these censors. They claim to be on the side of diversity. Yeah, they're on every sort of diversity except for the ideas they don't like. That's why I call them the real bigots. So if folks go to therealbigots.com and chip in, we will cut a check to John Carpay, as we have several times in the past, for his Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. Diane, last word to you. What do you hope happens here? What do you hope the final resolution of this will be?
Well, we really hope that the UTMSU will acknowledge their actions, that they have denied us free speech and freedom of expression. And we're also just hoping that this can be an example for other pro-life clubs at other universities across Canada, as I know that we're not the only ones who struggle with these kind of issues.
That's great. Diane Zettel, president of UTM Students for Life, appreciate your time. Help is coming in the form of John Carpay, and we'll try our best to chip in too.